Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. Woohoo! Party. Happy Monday morning, 9 o'clock on the West Coast. This is our half hour or so summary of what the heck we see going on in the market. Kind of a weird start today. I don't know whether you're into the whole American football experience, but did have quite a football game there last night. I think a lot of people were distracted by that. Anyway, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs for whatever that's worth. Did notice looking at the rags this morning, I mean, cats and dogs living together. I have no idea what the hell's going on with this world, but it seems that countries around the world are being invaded by these balloons, if they're even balloons. Suppose I was down on the ground. We don't really know what the heck's going on, but anyway, you can see BBC's covering it, and Canadian news agencies are covering it, and the U.S. news agencies, of course, are harassing their leader about his activity or inactivity. Anyway, that seems to be dominating the news. Balloon coin, yeah, there you go. There's an optimist, a capitalist at heart, DMAC. And I suppose in days and years gone by, if these cryptocurrency exchanges weren't such a train wreck, and having a hard time just getting out of their own way, I suppose that would have happened, like on something like Yobit years ago, they would have had that up in a heartbeat. But those are the good old days of crypto. Now I suppose looking at the news, I always see is crypto exchanges settling with Baldy here. I suppose that's a good thing. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really read into this too much, but Kraken always sort of wanted to be, a valid, respected exchange in the U.S. So I guess it doesn't surprise us that they're trying to, placate the regulators. I suppose probably the bigger news today that's a bit concerning, of course, is good old Binance, and BUSD is back under the scrutiny. When I woke up this morning, did see a lot of talk and chatter in the lounge about potential demise of BUSD and its depegging of other stable coins. And actually, some people now are literally talking about trading one stable coin versus another stable coin. God, I don't know how the hell all that goes. But anyway, the drama turns. What I do find fascinating about all this, of course, is that we have been expecting this big U.S. government, U.S. Senate hearing on the crashy cryptos, or whatever the hell you want to call it. And of course, I'm sure they're probably going to make lots of reference to that SBF guy. I think that's his name. And all that craziness. So get ready for that. But I thought it was interesting when I was looking at the dashboards. Fascinating how basically the algo has now pretty much washed itself out. We got very close to we got another kiss yesterday, which I found fascinating. But here we are coming out of the weekend. And what do we got? We got the fast sitting at 3.33 and this low at 10. Basically, this can't go any much lower than 0. And I remember in weeks and months gone by, it would make that reference that I even put tweets out and stuff to that effect. So interesting how we're coming into these big FA events, and I was wondering, a week or two ago, I had put out a fun little, let's see, I don't know if I can do this here or not. I'd put fun little sort of comparisons. Are we in a rip roaring bull, or are we in a topping pattern? And frankly speaking, I had just no idea which way this one was going to go. It's interesting how close the poll was. So I don't even really think that the community really had like sort of a clear direction one way or the other. So it looks like choice A played itself out. We didn't get much of a rally. I was kind of hoping that we would at least get up into this area where it set up a nice short. The rally itself kind of petered out pretty much on that candle and then just started puking out. But here we are now. Pretty much the market has dumped right into, coming into 4669s. Of course, good old Foggenbaum. So I suppose that's not shocking. We also have a bear A, B, C, D objectives. We are into this previous horizontal support and resistance zone. So we breached the top of it. And you can see this morning on all this FUD that's come out in the space, breaking further. Is this a good place for a trade location? I don't think so. But if we get some sort of capitulation dump or something into that Senate hearing tomorrow, of course, we're going to hear all the U.S. politicians just pile on about how horrible crypto is. Maybe we have some sort of, like I said, sell the rumor and then buy the news scenario. Let's hope that plays itself out. Only time will tell. I'll tell you that much, by crackers. Looking at the broader market, stock market's actually in a very, very happy mode. So, interestingly enough, like from a seasonal perspective, that's kind of, this has been a weird year, hasn't it? Because remember we had the January barometer report sort of said, we should do a bit of back and forth here and find some sort of low here through February, March. You can see we were looking toppy heading into that options expiry last week. Thursday was just a mega dump day. And in very typical fashion, mega dump days usually happen the day before the options expiry. Then the day of options expiry, things are actually pretty quiet. And that's kind of what I found happened last week. So kind of business as usual. And then, everybody's bearish. They're all, anybody who did buy up here was trapped underwater. And of course, if they're playing futures or anything like that, they had to close out at big losses. And literally coming right out of the gate first thing Monday morning, poop, up goes the price right back up into the topping range. Business as usual, rinse and repeat. So, yeah, a little bit cliche, if anything, out of the stock market. Did notice that a couple of the commodity markets looking really challenging here now. We have talked a bit about the gold market. I'm actually quite surprised at the severity of the gold drop. And I also noticed that there was a couple gold stocks. Somebody mentioned, I think it was Goro, which the only reason why I bought, I like this stock, but if I understand correctly, Mr. Musk was a fan of these guys. They got pummeled here today because they announced the discontinuing or maybe suspension of their dividend. Suspension of dividend. And this often happens in the stock market. This is actually pretty, I'm not going to say it's good, but it's actually pretty normal. And if the commodity markets, if that gold market looks grim going forward, things could get a bit challenging for these commodity producers. That looks like a bear A, B, C, D that's playing out in the gold market. So that's a little bit surprising, but the gold stocks themselves actually be interesting just to look at, the tweets that I had put out with regard to Newmont recently were looking for some sort of pullback here to set the stage for some sort of insane rally into the latter part of this decade. But so we are getting those pullbacks, and some of the junior stocks are getting kind of hit hard here. I didn't really buy enough of it to make it really hurt. No margin positions or anything like that. I'm not overly impressed with that, to be perfectly honest with you. But if we go and bottom, I might go and buy another couple hundred shares, throw it on the books. But the reason why the stock's coming off, suspending their dividend, which is pretty typical. That's not outlandish, especially if the gold market is rolling over here. Let's see, anything else sort of newsworthy that caught my attention this morning? As I said, a bit of news around crypto, whether it be various exchanges. I think the business of staking and then staking on behalf of other people. I think that the U.S. government would prefer that the United States doesn't go down that road. If you want to stake individually, you want to do everything on your own, I don't see anybody saying anything. What did sort of catch my eye is the regulators come out and saying that, because, who was it? Crypto Chico Tyler. He's been going on and on and on about how this stable coin by Binance is very shady. We'll see how that plays out. I don't know whether it's the demise of Binance itself, but I am asking Sjord whether we maybe should just pull everything off of Binance before the poop hits the fan, because unfortunately I'm actually thinking that, something that kind of bugs me right now in the market here when we look at our breadth indicators is, the S&P's breadth doesn't look very healthy here. That's not a bull, right? And remember, we had to go through this long grind here in the crypto breadth to finally get oversold. Does the U.S. stock market have to do something along those lines right now? Wouldn't surprise me. Is the bounce that you're seeing in the stock market right now just purely nothing more than just the hangover from the options expiry? And then we'll get sort of back to business. We do have some key inflation numbers coming out later on this week, econ wise. Actually, that might be a good idea. Just pop in, see what we have going on with econs. I like to follow this page. I don't know whether a lot of people follow this page or not, but I know there's various different econ reporting pages that people follow. But the headline here, U.S. stocks rise ahead of the CPI report. Kind of like what we saw with the Fed. It's not usually a good sign to see the market rally into these news, because then it's like a buy the news, buy the rumor, then sell the news. So inflation's still pretty sticky up here at about a 5-6% annualized rate now. And it's probably going to be a slog to get inflation back down to 2-3% area. I did notice things like natural gas were threatening to turn back around to the upside. And that's not going to help the situation. Yeah, you look at that kind of, because keep in mind, natural gas is a big cost of, you've all learned about what the hell happened in Europe with natural gas. So it's not like we're really going to get any help out of falling natural gas prices, because frankly speaking, it doesn't look like natural gas prices can fall a hell of a lot more. Willie's very stupidly oversold. RSI is even putting in little W's in its oversold condition. I don't really have a massive divergence or anything in MACD, but you can see the base. We are making higher low, higher low, higher low. If anything, this is one of these wedges. Whenever I see MACD do this, I actually mentioned this on Bitcoin recently, and didn't really play out the way that I had expected it to. But whenever you see these kind of wedges like this on MACD, oh boy, usually what ends up happening is we get some wild action over here and price just goes absolutely insane. Sometimes it's woo, just absolutely crazy. So you can see we are building to something here. And the only reason why I mention this, of course, is that, this is a huge inflationary component. You can see there's a big old price gap up there at like $6.5, $7. So are we going to see like a doubling of the price of the natural gas, and what is that going to do to the inflationary pressure? Uh-oh. If anything, that might explain why the rest of the market is kind of like, oh boy, it's looking a little sketchy. I suppose just looking at the broader market, does it make sense? Well, interesting how we've had a bit of a disconnect here. This was a previous cycle topping pattern, and the way the correction played out looks like it was just humming right along, but we've disconnected slightly here. We're looking for an ultimate capitulation low on this market symmetry study, but instead we've moved up here. Is this period, and then we have like one more final dump here. I think probably we find out on the other side of these inflation numbers that are coming out here shortly. So as for actual specific econs today, I didn't really see anything dramatic. Interesting to see that the Japanese economy continues, sort of this shrinking kind of pattern, but you can see that they are looking for an uptick, but that hasn't come out yet. It's right out of the gate Monday, not a heck of a lot to talk about. Interesting, Turkish auto production up 23% when it was forecast to be up 6%. Wonder what the numbers are going to be this coming month following the earthquakes there. I bet you there's going to be a slight revision to those numbers. India's inflation rate, I don't think anybody's really watching that. Hungarian cabbage crop futures, those kind of things. So we don't really have a lot of econs to work with. And of course it is Monday, so we're coming right out of the gate. So I think probably, just if anything, probably a bit of position squaring following the options expiry on Friday. A little bit of a news vacuum, if you will. We've got a key report coming out later on in the week. And of course, like we said, we also have those crypto hearings in front of the US government. There's also another crypto thing that's happening this week. I just can't remember it off the top of my head. So, there's your backdrop. Not a heck of a lot of real market moving news here today. As I said, breadth looking kind of suspect in the broader stock market. I know there was one gentleman who on the site who's like, well, I'll take these crypto signals if everything is all sort of moving in the same direction. I'd be a little bit leery if we saw crypto perk up here. I mean, I'll just take the signal if we do move across. I'll be more than happy just to in fact, actually the irony of it all is that I think I actually, well, I guess the USDT, but I think I put the money that we had in Binance, it's either in Bitcoin or it's in quote unquote cash. And I think the cash position that we put in for this algo was in BUSD. So if anything, probably be better that we get a nice little cross here and get the hell out of the BUSD and get back into Bitcoin. I don't know how all that's going to play out. But I did notice there wasn't a substantial move in the actual BUSD. It's just sitting there. But I got a funny feeling there's going to be fireworks ahead for Mr. CZ. We'll see how it goes. And of course, I think I said this earlier, Tyler over there at Crypto Chico, man, he has been barking about the shadiness of Binance for quite a bit lately. I think he's in like Brazil now or something like that. And he is really going hard on Binance. So I would imagine at the very least, the regulators are like, okay, well, I guess we better, at the very least, they're like, well, I guess we better at least look as though we're dropping the hammer on Binance. I have no idea what's going on in the internals of that. Anyway. Geez, I don't know what else to really talk to you guys about here this morning. It's kind of a sleepy Monday. So I'm not really overly active. In fact, I haven't really done anything trading wise in the market today. So stocks are up about 1%. Just doing some fun paper trades there. Not really any position trading or anything. Suppose maybe we could take a look. Well, maybe this is probably a good time to rely on the team. Chris, what the heck am I supposed to be talking about here today? All right, I should probably take a look at that. I did, and I've been putting out quite a few tweets and stuff to that effect. I was quite surprised. And we actually see sixes right across the board here on a lot of cryptocurrencies. Look at that, Atom, BCH, H bar. I heard some people talking about H bar. Now, why the hell is this SHIB coming on here? Sure, what the hell? God, I hate when I see this kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm not quite sure why that's there. Doge is coming back on the buy side. Hey, that's surprising. In fact, actually, I think I wanted to get a bid working on Doge again, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's more of a personal thing. You hear me talking because I live the life of autism. So anybody who sort of, comments about autism and how they, have their own autism, get away with it and all that kind of stuff and bad behavior. I don't really like people talking like that. I think it's a poor excuse. So having said that, obviously, actually it'd be interesting to see what Mr. Musk's response is about his favorite gold stock because it's getting kind of hammered here today. But I don't know. I probably won't even mention it. But his cryptocurrency Doge here, this looked kind of interesting to me. Of course, you can all see the big honking weekly W that came in here. And I'm willing to entertain the idea of going and accumulating. I had a huge position in this, heading into this peak, and sold a big chunk of it. The boys actually encouraged me, like, gee whiz, you should take some money off the table. So it did take a lot of money out of this thing. We did some position squaring on, these were company assets. So I don't mind looking at Doge again. This is sort of where it kind of went nutso last cycle. I do remember Musk was barking about it. I remember around like 7 cents or so. I think that was in here. Yeah, 6-7 cents in that area. And then, of course, you can see that, we put this wide base in here. So I didn't mind going back. We have a U.S. company that holds a lot of these. It's kind of ironic that actually, I don't even know. I should look into that. But I was curious as to whether I should think about picking up some more. I didn't really want to chase this thing, but I was willing. I threw in a stink bid down here of my 78.6, my favorite fib down there, to go and pick some up. I missed the trade last go round, but if we take a nice serious stab at these lows down in here, I might go and do a little nibbling. Nanny nibble. You can see bid working at 0.073. It's interesting. You look at the broader crypto market. Actually, there's a little bit of perking up here. Of course, that's interesting. GeoCoin. That was. I always like that Geo name. The only problem is, Trex. Trex is Trex. So most of these names from the last cycle, I'm not even in anymore. We liquidated it. So I'm actually building like new positions, new little old lady account positions, stuff like that. That's all this stuff here. You can see it's just a sea of red here today. Certainly not anything to really, because they're little old lady trades, I don't really want to liquidate. I'm just sort of accumulating over through the whole course of 2023. I would imagine there's going to be quite a bit of back and forth. Whatever you do, please don't chase. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. All right. So anyway, back to the dashboards. So we got, I did that tweet out about the about Ethereum and Bitcoin the other day, and Actually, this is the follow-up one. If you see a 6 on that dashboard reading, it's because the assets look like this, right? Down at the bottom end of the ranges, moving averages are starting to turn back up. Doesn't happen very often. And if anything, it is interesting when you look at the stock market and the broader sort of market. When we look at the weekly commodity trend survey, we don't really get a lot of sixes, and you can see, look at that, we got 5 buy signals in crypto right now and nothing in any other broader markets. So nothing else is really looking that attractive. And actually, this might be a good opportunity to check in with John and his WordPress site. He follows just a ton of assets, and I think he does it with Python scripting. So, but it is interesting, this limited universe that we follow here at TRI. I think it's probably about 500 names or so. The only part of the market that's actually spitting up any kind of buy signals is crypto. And I think I had made reference to this yesterday, but I didn't really finish the thought. What I think is the best sort of course of action is ideally you want to see these sixes. These sixes are kind of like, okay, this stuff's ready to rock and roll. But once you get the moving average cross, usually what ends up happening, and that was this tweet, is usually there's a check of the trend on the moving average cross. I've found it. I don't know if the numbers or the math or anything correspond as to why that would happen, but I have found over my 30 years doing this that when the moving averages cross it, usually we get some sort of check of the trend. And the way that you should approach this is you want to, the weekly commodity trend survey is saying, hey, pay attention. And then if you want to trade this, you drill down to like your daily chart and you hunt buy signals. But you might find that the check actually just does not produce any buy signals. So that's kind of what, here is that sort of lower time frame. Now we're down to 4 hours. There are no buy signals here. In fact, there was a new M that was just put in here overnight. I mean, there was this sloppy little W that came in there. If you had bought that, then you just got stopped out on that. But in conjunction with the weekly chart there, I'd probably just come down to the daily chart and you just say, show me a W. And I don't see it. What I see is a head and shoulders pattern that's got to play out. This is the weekly moving average check. And we probably got to come back down against these lows. And, if this goes really poorly tomorrow, I think you can kind of see, and I don't know whether I don't think that's a real trend line. Yeah, I wouldn't really read too much into that. But A, B, C, D kind of down into this area. You can see where this is the head and shoulders objective down into here. In fact, actually, I don't know where it is. Did this really cool chart on Bitcoin. How many reasons can you see to justify a trade? Here it is. This is cool. And actually, I put the tweet out and I go, #levels. So how many reasons can you see to justify a trade? In this zone here, holy moly, there's a lot of them. So it might be difficult to see, but where do we want to begin? First off, valid trend lines, market structure, M's, up, down, up, fail. Market structure is, I think it's the best way to draw trend lines. So you can see where trend line resistance is. If we do get any kind of bounce here, it's probably going to bang up against this trend line and pause. As well, this is the daily chart. So you can see we have also a daily bearish moving average cross. So interesting in this scenario, we have a weekly bullish moving average cross, but a daily bearish moving average cross. And same sort of principle here. on the moving average cross, we probably should get some sort of check of that bearish reading. And I think that's what's going to happen through the next, few days here, unless we just absolutely puke out here. I don't know. I mean, maybe that can happen. We'll see. It is interesting that we're now below this trend line, going back off of this original market structure bottom. Boom, boom. That trend line was very significant there the other day. So, and you can see we're heading into that congressional hearing tomorrow. I think it's Senate. This is a 3-bar fractal. Somebody was asking about fractals yesterday, and what is you could argue that that's actually a little head and shoulders unto itself, but a 3-bar fractal nonetheless. So if we go through today's low anytime tomorrow, then look out below. So you can see, what's that? Somebody say? All right. Okay. I was curious as to what the heck I was going to talk to you guys about today, but well, it looks like we got 30 minutes in there. So, and actually this makes sense, because if that hearing goes poorly tomorrow, or, there's more FUD about Binance and their stable coins and all that kind of stuff, if we lose this low tomorrow, and this is, of course, assuming that this low holds for the rest of today. I don't know whether it's going to or not. We go down to like a lower time frame chart. Yeah, you can see they're trying to put in a double bottom right now. So off of that low, and I guess that's this. Yeah, that's this dotted line here. If we go through that low, then it means whatever this consolidation bottom is, it failed. So just to finish off that thought. But, this is a fascinating level, right? You got a Feigenbaum right there, 2.618. Theoretically, well, what I've found is we're either going to play at this 2.618, which means that we should bounce right back up to this 100%, which would be a bounce back into the moving average resistance, would be a bounce back into the trend line resistance, which would make sense. Also notice too, we've got the first stop target, 38.2s. Also notice too, off of this original topping pattern, the head and shoulders top up here, the parking garage, 1.618 down to 200%. That's also in this area. So, man, this is just a huge level of levels. And then also we had this original horizontal support and resistance level that I think, I remember Paul in the Wednesday shows, he was interested in that level. So that's what I call a level. That's why I put the tweet out yesterday. Holy levels, Batman. Unfortunately, this is almost like, the tide is turning. We're heading out now. And if we go back to that weekly chart, which, was this talk, you can see that the weekly moving averages are sitting down here right around 20,000, or basically the big fat round number, which makes sense, right? So that is this level here, big fat round number, and notice that's 50%. That is the low of that most recent level. And there's a big Feigenbaum floating out there. And you could actually argue that the uptrend line, the actual sort of, because remember, we lost this uptrend line. So the next one that's sort of in play, I mean, I suppose we could also draw one going from here to here, but that'll come in later on. The next sort of uptrend line of significance, I think, is this one, and that's also down in this area. So you can kind of see we're kind of on pins and needles right here. This is a little dangerous, where we could very easily A, B, C, D our way down below. I have no idea how this is going to play out. I mean, does anybody? Not really. I think probably, I suppose if you're playing this on the short term, well, there is an interesting little double bottom that's trying to come in. But if we lose this dotted line, these lows here, then don't be surprised. I mean, we've got this big old fat M within an M just staring you right in the face. So the inertia is definitely to the downside. So, if anything, this is not the time to be a hero. This, if anything, you know what this is? This is a great time to, review all of the names that went absolutely ballistic there recently and build your shopping list and say, all right, if the market is going to puke out like this rend, I heard people coming in on the buy side up here, and I'm like, oh boy, that's asking for trouble. If Bitcoin does puke out into that congressional thing and, all those moving averages and stuff are all rolling over and Binance starts to go into a big bear orgy again, I could very easily see this being a bearish ABCD, which takes us right back down. Notice this original double bottom breakout level. It's huge. I'm not going to say it's nice and polite and easy, but down, up, breakout. Notice that this bear ABCD is just going to take us right back down into that original bottoming level. And then this is really everything that I try to teach you in these education programs. Oh, what a surprise. That bear ABCD is going to take us right down into the line in the sand and the bottom of the reload zone. So if anything, I hope you watched all the names that went absolutely crazy there, and you did some research. This FXS. This is another one. Zugi right now is going okay. Now that price has gone up, and of course I made a pile of money on all my sells. Can you please bring price back down to the bottom, and I'll go and I'll buy it all back. And I think he's gonna get his wish here. And remember, usually this crypto market loves to bottom right into my birthday. So mark May 11th on your calendars. Don't be shocked if we see some sort of capitulation bottom into that. I mean, obviously we're in the middle of February. That's still a few months away. There's probably going to be quite a bit of back and forth here, but just understand that number one, this was maybe a little too far, too fast. I mean, do assets really triple in a month's time, and that's normal? Not really. Number two, this is venture capital. By definition, it is supposed to go up and down like a horse. And number three, we're still in that sort of 23 troughing Benner year kind of thinking. And somebody even posted, Brian, sometimes these cycles, they actually pivot like in January of 2024. That's actually when you find the ultimate bottom. Like that's what happened in the last cycle on the top with that 2019 top call. The market actually topped like January 2020. So we're still in the bottoming phase for crypto. And I if anything, like I said, for heaven's sakes, don't chase. You spend all that time being patient and disciplined, waiting for this stuff to come back down to earth. Don't go and just, throw, caution to the wind by buying a market that's already jumped substantially off its lows. Just be patient. And if you're going to buy, kind of like that Doge that I showed you, I certainly wouldn't buy Doge up here, but I'm willing to take a little nibble. If we can come right back down against the bottom end of the range here, I'm willing to do that, but I'm not going to buy up there. So anyway, there's your market. Like I said, we got a couple pretty big fundamental drivers heading into tomorrow. You can see she's on the bear side. The bear's definitely got the ball right now. I don't think there's a huge hurry to do anything here in the market today. And if anything, now is the time to do all your due diligence, get your shopping list, of course, get your plan ready, get all of your documents and stuff that you need to run the plan all ready to go, and start reviewing names and, shortlisting the names that you do want to be investing in, start drawing reload zones and maybe getting some stink bids working. All right. That's about a half an hour. I hope you got some value out of that. My apologies if it was a bit light on content today, but what the hell? Not every day can be an exciting day in the market. All right. PMA for the win. All the best. Have yourselves a great day. The only thing left for me to say is bye for now.